Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jake Purvis, your trusted Certified Medicare Insurance Planner. And we're not done with this Medicare journey. Today, we're diving deeper into it and answering more of those burning questions. So the four parts of Medicare are A, B, C, and D. Part A and B are administered by the federal government, and Part C and D can only be administered by a private insurance company. So your A covers your inpatient coverage, such as inpatient hospital or even hospice, and Part B covers all the other medical associated with that, like doctors, ambulance rides, and tests. Now, Part D, jumping to that, covers your prescription medications you would fill at a pharmacy. And Part C is the privatization of Medicare, where a private insurance company will actually wrap your A and B and sometimes D benefits into one package. These plans have to be at least as good as original Medicare, and some provide some additional benefits. All right, let's get a little more specific on A and B. So Part A covers your inpatient coverages or your inpatient charges. So your room and board at a hospital, skilled nursing facility, or even hospice is covered under Part A. Part B covers all of your other medical. So the doctor, the surgeon, the anesthesiologist that might actually be treating you, your PCP visit, an ambulance ride, or an MRI or CT scan is going to be what's covered under Part B. There are some medications that are covered under Part B, such as chemotherapy and radiation, but the majority of your prescriptions are going to be covered under your Part D coverage, administered through an insurance company. So this is a great and a broad question. So to get started, let's talk about what Part B does cover if you're on original Medicare. So they're going to cover 80% of any approved charges for any of those Part B expenses. So those hospitals, ambulance rides, they're covering 80%, leaving you to owe the other 20%. Now that number is unlimited. And if you're here in Jacksonville and you go to Mayo Clinic, they're actually going to bill you an additional 15% because they do not accept Medicare assignment, and they're allowed to charge you that excess charge. And again, that is unlimited. They also don't cover, again, your prescription medications or your room and board charges. Now, if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, it's going to work a little bit different. Those plans all have a maximum out of pocket. So you will have a limit on what you could owe in a given year. And most of the copays that you have, or most of the charges you're going to have, are actually going to be a copay and not actually due to a coinsurance. So you might owe a $50 copay for this or a $200 copay for that, and those all get applied to your maximum out of pocket if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan. Why do you need Part C is kind of a loaded question, and let me be clear, you do not need Part C. So it is a very Googled question, but you don't need it. Now let me explain in a little more detail. So A and B will cover a lot. Now you're going to be responsible for 20% unlimited, and that's not good. So A and B by itself is not enough in my opinion. Now you might have employer coverage. If you've got employer coverage, you might not need a Part C plan. If you can afford a Medicare supplement plan and it's affordable to you for that coverage, and that's the way you would like to get your coverage, then you do not need Part C. You cannot have a Medicare supplement and a Part C at the same time. Now, if you cannot afford a supplement and you don't have employer coverage, I think you need to look at Part C plans and understand what options you have available, because in my opinion, it's better than having A and B by itself, because again, your Part B expenses are unlimited in a given year, and a Part C plan is going to limit those expenses. They might include some additional benefits. They might have a very low premium associated with it, if a premium at all, and it's going to give you usually some reasonable copays or something like that to be able to go see a provider that you might need to see. So to be clear, you don't need Part C, but for a lot of people, it may be the best option. So not only is this Googled all the time, but I get asked specifically often as well. The reason you have to pay for Part B is because you haven't paid for Part B yet. So all those taxes you paid, your Medicare taxes while you were working, those were going to help cover your Part A premium. If you didn't have enough quarters or pay enough into that while you were working, your Part A premium alone is over $400 a month. But everyone has to pay for Part B. There are certain circumstances where someone may be paying that Part B for them, and that's usually if they qualify for Medicaid. They qualify for Medicaid, that's a state benefit, and the state may cover that Part B premium for them. Otherwise, everyone has to have Part B to have that coverage. Now, keep in mind, if you're a higher income household, you may have to pay a whole lot more for the exact same Part B coverage. That's it for Part 5. Hope your Medicare journey is getting a lot clearer, and I'm here to keep it that way. So don't forget to follow and subscribe, and stay tuned for Part 6 as we wrap up this 6-part Medicare series.